Okay. Let's get some tissue paper sorted here. Let's see, do I have bags of tissue paper everywhere. So this one's for a different project. Tap that down in there. Alright, so it's escaping again. Alright. So we're gonna need some of this shade. Of course I can't get it out of there now. No, come here. Ah. Alright, so we probably won't be using this storage box once we go through all of these colors. It's been a rather right pain in the butt. I think that's way more than we're gonna need here. I think you came from that one. Alright. Don't fall. No shenanigans over there. Okay. Put that back. Alright. So how is everyone today? I feel like that's a little far forward. Alright, that should be alright. Okay. So, we're picking back up with working on our tissue paper recreation. So, this is week 10 that we've been working on this. So, we do have our sample image. Oh. There we go. So this was a painting that we did following the tutorial for this one. I believe this one is still available on the Etsy shop. But today we're going to work on maybe a little bit of the tree. Maybe we're going to start to put in some highlights on the tree for sure. We still have to work on our water here and our shoreline and stuff. So this is just a little bit of kind of what we're going for. Not exactly, but you know. We're getting there. We're getting there. Oh, we still have to put the fence in too. So we might do that as well. So I'm just gonna lower that guy there. Alright. So we might have to open a new glue bottle soon. Maybe. We'll see. I know when I was using this earlier this week, it felt like it was getting to that point. But now when I just picked it up, it felt kind of heavy, so I don't know. We'll see. I'm crooked. Why am I crooked? Can't tell if I'm actually crooked or if my camera's crooked. My camera sits on top of my monitor, so I don't know if it's just the angle that everything is at. Because I have like a corner desk, so things sit kind of strangely. Alright, so we're going to start with putting in some of our highlights on our tree. Let's see, we're going to do... Our highlights seem to start down in here. look a little thick. Alright, I think that's as far as we're gonna glue right now. So I don't want to glue too far, because some of this may try to absorb into the top, which is fine, you know, it's paper. It's probably going to. Alright, so I'm gonna rinse out the brush. Because, you know, we need to. And don't forget to pop on whatever music does it for you. Forgot to grab my stylus. I'm listening to a whole bunch of stuff, but unfortunately I can't share what I'm listening to because of copyright. And I don't want to get in trouble. So it's a viewer's choice on your own PC. So whatever music files you have that you love, go ahead and fire them up. Settle in with your drinkies and your snackies. And we'll get started. Hope everybody's having a good weekend. And congratulations to Lita and Execute, two friends of mine that got married over the weekend. It's partially what I had to do on Friday. So yeah, I wasn't feeling that well on Friday, and I was like, I need to be semi-functional because I was needing to watch that. So we are just gonna keep trying to push this down into the bumpiness of the layer below it. And I was actually gonna go a little bit earlier, but had a thing I had to deal with, and I'm still kind of dealing with it. I've got two things going on actually. So I was stalling a little bit getting started, trying to deal with those. One was my neck flared up again, and another was trying to help someone with an issue that they were having with WoW challenges. But I'm not so sure there's anything we can do. I've got somebody else that's trying to see what they can find out, because I was coming up completely empty-handed. I have a theory, but I have no proof for my theory, so we'll see what they say. Maybe they can find something out. We will see. So yeah, I was gonna try to go a little bit earlier. I know I wasn't scheduled to start today till 3, but I had planned on trying sooner. Life has been strange lately with like, yeah, no, that's not happening. But hopefully this ibuprofen that I took will kick in and we'll be good. Alright. I feel like I've got nothing done this week, but I also don't really remember much of this week, which is weird. All the bloodthirsties are ready. I think that's so that's good. Everybody for stream for Wednesday's already good to go. So I was able to get some extra things done yesterday since there was no show with the podcast being on break. It was ungodly hot here yesterday. Heat index at one point actually hit 108, and I was like, oh god. I was like, that's too hot for June, y'all. And it was so humid. Our dew points were in the low 70s. It was gross. Even like 11:30 last night, we'd stepped out on the porch to check something, and it still was just so oppressively sticky. It was nasty. I think we need one more little guy in there. Alright, now because this is sitting on top of another color, definitely want to push down on the top just to make sure it is seated in the glue there. I'm going to give that just a second to sit, just to make sure that we're doing okay here. Alright, and I'm going to twist a couple more colors here. Now this is going to go most of the way up the tree. Most of the way. Probably going to cut it off, yeah, maybe around in here. We'll see. We'll figure that out as we go along. Alright, so I'm not going to twist too many ahead of time. Just a few here. So yeah, I hope everybody had a good weekend. Hope it wasn't too terrible for you guys. Our elephant ears are coming along. slowly, but it does look like all of them may have sprouted now, except for maybe one. Oh, hit the microphone, that's good. Good job. I am impressed with the distance that I am getting on this glue bottle, because this was a very old glue bottle actually. Had this for a few years and I had done 2 projects previous with it. And then it had sat for a while, and I've done one pretty good sized project with it, plus this one. So pretty happy with how much mileage we've gotten out of that. Kind of impressed. Alright, so let's clean out this brush. I just like to use the brush to spread the glue out a little bit. Sometimes it kind of helps it a little bit, make sure it's not too heavy in some spots and not heavy enough in others. This guy tapped in here. Just trying to make sure that this is set down. Keep trying to go to that container. This is set down in there as well as it can be. Keep seeing the container and I'm like, oh, let me pull from the container. That's gonna keep happening today. Alright. Damn it, see? Oh boy. Take a shot every time I mistakenly reach for the container. My goodness. It's taking so much restraint not to. This tapped in here. Alright, so we're done with what I had pre-pulled. Okay. Now we can really get in there. Forget to push down a bit to make sure everyone's actually seated. They're not lifted up higher than they're supposed to be. I mean, there will be a little bit of lifting because we're not on a flat surface in this part. We are on top of the ridgy section. Just trying to make sure that we're not getting too far off of our tree here. Don't want our highlight to be halfway out into the grass. That would look strange. I'm just wiping the excess glue off my stylus onto the top of my other hand. I know I shouldn't, but it's more convenient, and I won't get little fibers sticking to it like if I use a paper towel or tissue at this very moment. And we're just using regular tacky glue, so it's not like a super glue or anything where we have to worry about it being problematic. So while I thought I pulled too much of this color out, maybe I didn't. Maybe I didn't. Not like it matters that much. I can just shove it back in the box. Here, what are you? There we go. Keep getting little fuzzes. That like to stick in places they don't belong. Alright, so I'm just gonna come back in. And we do have a couple of tiny gaps forming down here in the highlight section, but you know what? That's not really the end of the world. Because, you know, even sometimes in spots where there's highlights, you'll see little crevices. And it's not anything too problematic. Alright, put that down. I'm just going to twist a couple of more colors. I'm going to try to figure out where we want to cut off the highlights. So I think I have an idea of where I want that to stop. I think I'm going to take the highlights a little bit higher than they are in the original, and that's fine. We do have another color to slightly add to it though, so we'll have to do that. I'm just twisting a little bit more paper here. Hands aren't quite fully on camera, it would seem. Seem to be a little hesitant to move my one arm around too much because it's making my neck angry. So, alright, so we'll twist these couple. We might need a couple more. We'll see. The next color we need, I already had twisted some for my off-stream project. So I can just pull from that. So now we begin the glue waiting game yet again. Okay. So we will take this, I forget where I was originally thinking of cutting it off that fast. Maybe about there. Just making sure my brush was dry there before we touch the glue. And remember, need to rinse our brush. Okay. So let's start getting these guys on in here. So this one piece might be sitting on top of the cloud section. Where's this fuzz coming from? There it is. I'm like, is it on my finger? I'm only seeing it move every time I put the stylus down there. That's enough to drive you crazy. Okay. Alright. So we've got everything on this playlist from that I'm listening to. From Enya to Owl City to Vanessa Carlton to Lindsay Sterling. Got quite a assortment on today's setup. Where do I want you to go? Stick you in here. Especially since the glue in that section seems to be seeping in a little bit faster. Is that section of the paper is a little bit thirstier, I suppose. Okay. And again, I'm just using this to set the tissue paper down into the glue so I don't have to have my fingers all up in there constantly. Just to help keep them a little bit cleaner. I mean, you're working with glue. You're gonna get glue on you. It's inevitable. But it does help a little bit. And if you don't have a stylus, you can use just about anything that is okay for it to get glue on it. So a toothpick, a paper clip, an old pen, the handle of a paintbrush that is on its last legs, and a pen cap, you know, whatever will help you get the job done. That is okay if glue gets on it. Because, you know, you don't want to destroy anything important. Alright, so we need a couple more pieces. I usually have one hand designated, but it can get messy. The left hand can get all of the glue on it. That's fine. Okay. So I'm pretty happy with how this has been coming out. It actually is coming out a lot closer than I thought it was going to. I wasn't quite sure what I was going to be able to pull off with this. But so far, I'm looking pretty spiffs. Alright, so that might be good. Alright, I'm just gonna make sure everybody is well and truly seated down in our glue and on top of our tree. Alright, so now, oof, leg got stuck. Alright, so we'll grab my box here with all my pre-cut stuff. And I'm just gonna tuck that shade back in. Well, you know, we might need a little bit more of that shade out actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Alright, so next I grab some of the color I already have twisted as my leg gets stuck. The way I was sitting is not proper sitting for a computer chair. I always fold my one leg up under me, and I shouldn't, but I do. Alright. We've got some white here. I don't think we're going to be using quite that much. Let me grab our image again. So our image does have a little bit of white highlight in there. Not a whole lot, but there's a little bit. So I think we will do just a couple of spots here and there. Okay. So for that, I'm going to take a lid to a water bottle because I don't have a paper plate nearby that I can use at the moment. This can just be our little glue tray. Now I could just put the glue directly on, if it ever comes out, directly on the project, but for this particular spot, it's probably a bit much, but oh goodness. Okay, let me just, no, no, no. You go back up there. This brush has definitely seen better days. But that's okay. This is our glue brush. Alright. So, because I want to be precise. Yes?
What are you gonna want?
Cheddar.
Okay.
You might get Philly too. You're ordering early?
I'm gonna set it up to auto order.
Oh, okay. So I don't want this to overpower. So we're not gonna like completely fill this in. So there's gonna be some glue that doesn't get covered. And that's okay. The glue will dry clear. And it'll end up melting into what we end up sealing it with anyhow. So we will be okay there. And we'll tap this guy into here. Now, it's going to be a little difficult to see it because it's white glue with white paper being set down on top of it. But as that glue dries, it'll start to be a little bit more visible. Gonna work on gently pushing that down into place. Trying to make sure that that has in fact seated itself. Sorry, I wasn't sure. I think the dog might be growling at me. And this is gonna come down just a little bit further. And I'm gonna do a slight break there. I don't really want it to be a full stripe. Momo, are you growling? You are growling. Okay. Give me a moment, buddy. Let me just finish up this part. Okay. Alright. And we'll do one last spot. Right down in here, I think. Well, no, we'll do two spots. We'll do And this one. And then I think we'll do one in this curve here. Tell you, the wind's really kicking up, and we're not supposed to have any storms for several days. Well, it's supposed to. I mean, I don't know if one's gonna pop, but hopefully we're saying our dew points are supposed to start coming back down again, which will be lovely. It doesn't normally get that humid here, and it has been. Sorry, I tapped the microphone again with my paintbrush. Let me get this tapped into here. So we'll come back in, make sure everybody else is still somewhat behaving. Don't normally need to go back with glue on top, but sometimes if you've got a spot that's being fussy about sitting the way you want it to, that's what you gotta do. I mean, we're going over the whole thing with Mod Podge in the end anyway, so that's gonna sort of be personal preference. Alright, let me get this brush in some water, get that rinsed. The doggo wants to go potty, so I will be right back. So, forgive me. Okay, I'm back. I'm sorry. Doggo had potty and Doggo was being slow about going potty. Always when I need him to move quickly, he's like, I'm just gonna take my time. Every time. Alright, let me drop the... Be right back. Okay. Sorry about that. We are back. I am back. Alright, set that off to the side. Okay, now I'm gonna let this start to set up here. And I don't want to fuss with the tree leaves until we've got this somewhat in place. Alright. Now, let me grab a tissue. Need to clean off our glue bottle. I had my skewer. Just have like a kitchen shish kebab skewer that I use to clean the nozzle on my glue bottle. Oh, okay. That didn't work too well. Let's wipe it off on a tissue and have the tissue glue itself to the skewer. That's fabulous. Okay. Let me tuck that over there. Okay. So while that's doing its thing, I'm going to come back over here. Slide this up a little bit. And, excuse me, we're going to work on our shoreline here. A little bit. Once we get the glue to come back down and join us once again. There we go. Cleaning that nozzle did help a little bit. It's flowing a bit better now. You know what? Let's take that up to there. Alright. So.
Big hard numbs?
Yes.
Are you okay if I just go now?
That's gonna be cold for me now, though.
Okay. Alright. 3:30?
Huh?
Can I go 3:30?
That's in 15 minutes.
That's why I was originally starting with now. It's just I'm trying to get there and get things done and get back before.
I'll just have to eat it cold then.
Oh, alright, I'll wait.
Alright. So I'll probably put this on a little bit thick. Probably thicker than I really intended, but that's okay. Sometimes when it is a little bit thicker, it will give you a little bit more work time on it. Sometimes. So, I have some of this color already twisted. I just have to find it. Okay. So So this is just our brown color. Oh, sirens. We were sitting here yesterday and we heard a loud bang. But it kind of sounded like it came from our neighbor's truck next door, because he's been out there messing with it with the hood open and doing something with one of his tires or his brakes, or I don't know. He's been fussing with his truck off and on, so we just kind of, I was like, oh, what was that? And then Russ was like, it's probably next door, and I was like, oh, alright. So I didn't really investigate it further. Turns out there had been an accident out in front of our house. It didn't sound like an accident though. Like there was no like glass crunching or anything. It was just like bam. And I was like, oh. Like it sounded like the hood of a car closing heavily. It just like there wasn't the typical crunch. So I think that's why we didn't really think much of it. I didn't hear any, like, I don't know if anybody was actually hurt. We didn't hear any ambulances or anything. But it's not the first time there's been an accident out there. People aren't paying attention that other people are turning, because we're right near a corner, and they're too busy on their phones or just not paying attention, and kind of looked like somebody got rear-ended pretty good. We did see a tow truck, so somebody was either afraid to drive their vehicle or it was not in drivable shape. So, I mean, they must have gotten smacked pretty good in that respect. I'm probably making the shoreline a little bit thicker, deeper than I had originally planned upon, but I think it'll work out in the end. I kept tapping my leg. It's very distracting. Oh, that guy blended in with the shade on the house. I'm like, why is one of the pieces of the house crooked? Remember that being that way. Go to touch it thinking it had started to come off or something. No, it had never been attached. Oh my goodness. I did not see that one escape up to there. Okay. Just laying in our dirt, basically. Our dirt, our mud. I was originally considering doing this part with sand. However, Since we still have the water to go, budding the water in tissue paper up against the sand of the shoreline was gonna have a height difference, and I wasn't so sure how that was gonna look. Kind of thought it was gonna look a little weird in this particular instance. So I kind of nixed that idea. And our water's probably gonna take a little bit of time once we get really going on that. Water we're probably gonna do next week though. Or start it next week rather. Alright. But we're getting there. It's coming. It's just a little bit of a slower project. Plus, you know, I'm only working on it on stream. So as soon as stream's done, then I'm putting it to the side. And working on other things that need doing. Alright. But it does go a little bit faster when you can just drop the paper snakes in. So I know this is going to be like a reflection, but since this is water, I'm going to do snakes down here instead of the instead of the cloud shapes. I don't know if that's a good decision or not, because it is supposed to be a reflection, but I also want it to remind us that this is the water, so I feel like it should be the paper snakes. Like the rest of the water is gonna be. Okay, I'm just kind of making sure everybody is in fact seated here. I mean, we're going to be putting a little bit of highlight on the shoreline too. So it won't be the end all be all if we have a couple of gaps here and there, but I would prefer there not to be. But if we do have any, they should be. It should be fixable. Alright. So yay for having enough of this color all ready to go. That definitely helps. I think I had this extra from when I was getting stuff together for our tree, and I was like, oh, you know what? We're gonna need some for the shoreline. And I actually have some of this color ready to go for another project too. So if I need to borrow from that, I can, because it's the same shade. So we'll continue tapping this stuff in. Well, tapping carefully. Well, I guess we are tapping it into place here. Alright, I'm going to cut this one in half. Kind of pop that guy in there. And we don't want to waste the other half of it, so we'll just tuck him in there. So we don't need to waste that. It's not necessary. And I'm just going to start putting in this edge, because this is starting to dry a little bit. See the edges on it starting to get shiny. Got a runaway there. Okay. Tuck this guy all in here. Okay. So does anybody have any plans for this week? Anything fun going on? Any vacations planned soon? We don't have any vacations planned. We don't have any money to go on vacation. We have vet bills to pay. That's for damn sure. At least the doggo's doing better. He's starting to act like his normal self once again. So that's good. But now the other doggo has an issue. So I think a vet visit for them might be on the schedule soon. We think it's just the same issue that he's been there for before, that the vet was like, I don't know. He didn't seem too concerned about it at the time, but he was like, if it gets bigger, call us back. Except it has gotten a bit bigger recently. Except now he's got a second, it's like a bump. A small bump. And he seemed to think it might have been like a cyst or something. He didn't seem too overly worried about it. But he's like, well, if it gets bigger, you know, or it pops or something, let us know. And it has gotten bigger. recently that we've noticed, except now there's a second one in a different spot. And I don't know if they're going to want to do anything because of his age. I don't know. I think Doggo's going to be 10. Mm, 9 or 10 in September. Let me see. That's probably not enough of that color that we pulled out there. Probably not. Alright, so this is still, it's still a little hard to see because of how bright my light is. It's just kind of kicking up brightness. It's there, but just can't see it that well. Alright. So we've got that section of shoreline all tucked in. Now we're going to do this section over here. Start to work on that a bit. Eventually, the glue will cooperate. Alright, so since we have this like funky little curve going on, I feel like that's probably where we're going to focus on first. Potentially. So I feel like the curve is probably going to be one of the more, I don't want to say trickier, but yeah, I guess it would be the trickier section to get it to behave in necessarily. It could be more difficult. To make sure everybody's going to behave in that section. So it might take some more fiddling. And you can try to pre-bend your paper before putting it in there. If you want to, that is a possibility, and up to you. And we will see how it goes. Now this is from this painting that we're trying to recreate. This is from, oh, what was it, season 15? I think I've said before. Season 15, The Joy of Painting, episode 7, I believe it was. Is it Cabin on the Lake or something? So it's not going to be 100% like his, but it's going to be close. And so far, I know we've been jumping around a little bit with where we've been working, but so far it doesn't seem too bad. And we have our small reference photo in the corner. And the reference photo is actually the one that I painted following the tutorial. I think we did that last summer. And that was put on a wooden circle. And we turned that into a magnet, and that is still in the shop and available along with a few other ones in the Etsy store. And this is just tacky glue and tissue paper. Now I did paint a really rough image of what the painting, or what his painting looked like, just to give me a reference photo that I'm looking directly at constantly, to kind of give me a color key, a sense of where everything should go. So that's why you see this paint in here. The whole thing had been pre-painted extremely roughly with acrylic paint. And just kind of helps me keep track of where I'm at, what size things should be, and what I'm looking for. Saves me some time. Having to go back and forth constantly. And again, this is just a stylus I picked up at the dollar store from their craft aisle. You can use a toothpick. You can use a pen that doesn't write anymore, a pen cap, a paper clip, an old paintbrush handle that's crappy, that you don't care if it gets glue on it. And it was either use it for this or throw it away. I mean, whatever. I'm just using the little stylus here just to help us tuck all of the pieces of paper up close to one another so we don't have any gaps. And another reason why I painted my quote-unquote color key on the canvas, even though, you know, the tissue paper is being laid on top of it, is so that if I do have any gaps happen, which, you know, you might, they could be small though. Sometimes if the canvas is white underneath, if the gap happens to be just big enough, you might see white canvas under. So, to prevent that from happening and driving myself mad, I put the color key underneath. So, if I should have that happen, the color from underneath will be kind of peeking through instead of bright white glaring canvas, which would just, I'd be here all day trying to cover all of the patches if it was bright white underneath. That's just the way that's gonna happen. I know it. I know me. And I know what that's all about. So, it's for my own sanity. almost done this section. And this is just tissue paper, maybe 1 inch by 1 inch roughly, not exactly squares that I took in, like, went corner to corner. It wasn't, it's like maybe 1 inch by 1.5 inches. It's not exact. It doesn't have to be exact. Sometimes when they're a little bit longer, they're a little bit easier to roll into a paper snake. And I just go like opposite corner to opposite corner, and then just, you know, keep twisting into a little snake shape. And that's what the grass is, the tree, the pink part of the sky. All that same shape. And our barn here, barn, cabin. I think he calls it cabin, but it's kind of shaped like a barn, so I don't really know about that. I can only go with what I see. Maybe his was a cabin and ours turned into a barn. It's possible. I was painting super small and scaled down compared to the size of the original painting in the tutorial. The tutorial painting, what size was it? 12 by 18 maybe? No. 24 by 18? Something larger than what I had. I was painting on like a 4-inch in diameter piece of wood, so there was definitely a size difference. Alright, so that section of shoreline is in. We just have to do this section in here. Alright, so let's get some more glue at the ready. Give me 1 second. Sorry. There's a situation going on that I'm trying to help with at the same time. It started before I got started. I've actually got 2 situations going on. So one's a good thing, one's I don't think I can do anything about this, but I'll try to see what I can find out. Alright, so we'll get our glue put down for this part, and again, I probably put way too much down. But it's okay. It'll dry, and the sky color that's in the water will be going over top of it anyhow. So we haven't done this intersection yet. So it's almost kind of like, well, if you're gonna fuck something up, well, it's not really fucked up. But at least we're almost done with the dark color on the shoreline. We still have to do some bushes and things. Let's work on getting that. And I'm sorry my streams have been shorter lately for the art stuff. Just time has been crazy with schedules and other things going on. Oh, hi friend, you don't belong in there. Get out of there. How did that green guy get in there? The green guy got in the wrong color bag. That's not good. Alright, so I think I'm going to start with this bottom section here. So we kind of have to wrap around. And I'm kind of treating it like the other sides, where I want that little piece of paper tail hanging down so that it gives us more of an anchor point. Because I don't want it too bumpy on the edge, because then if someone tries to frame it later, that could be problematic, where it doesn't want to go in the frame because of the stuff sticking off the sides. So I'm trying to keep it as smooth and flat as possible in that spot. Alright, so we do have a little bit of a tighter curve here. So I'm just going to have to tuck that in. A little bit here and there. And some of these might not seem like they're gonna cooperate. And if it just won't bend the way you want it to, that's okay. You can fix that with another layer if need be. You know, it is just paper, and no one said we can't put another layer on top of it. So if that's what needs to happen, that's what needs to happen. Alright, let's get this guy touched in here. Tapped in here. Alright. Need to get some of the excess glue off the end of my stylus here. You don't want too much glue to build up on that, because as you're pushing the other paper in, it could start to pull it back out as the glue dries on it. So every few pieces you might want to just do a quick wipe off. Oh, just lost a piece of paper. It got flicked into the unknown. Sure, I'll find it later. It might actually be in my lap. Maybe. I don't know. No, it might be gone. Yeah, I don't feel it. I felt it hit me, and who the hell knows where it went from there. I'm sure there is a huge graveyard of colors of pieces of tissue paper. under my desk. More than likely. Like, under my desk is kind of like under the couch. Or behind, or under like the couch cushions and stuff. Under the bed. Never to be seen again. I have some stuff stored under my desk because storage in this house is at a premium. Don't really have any closets. This is a very old house. It's like built in the 20s. I've seen 2 different dates now when this place was possibly built, so it was either in 21 or 26, but there's like a half closet for the linen closet in the bathroom. There's a closet in my mother-in-law's room, which I think might be the biggest closet in this place. And then there's another closet in the room that my parents are staying in. That's it. That's it for closets. I think our clothes are in storage containers because we just don't have anywhere to put them. That, and we're probably cramming way too many people into this house, so. That probably doesn't help. But, what can you do? Gotta make the best of the space that you got, right? Alright, you might as well.
Yeah, I'm finally shirt now. I think most of them are in the wash.
If you rip apart the clothes on the shelf, you might have a button up towards the bottom. The middle or the bottom shelf. I don't know where you were shoving your stuff. We also have a shelf that we use that's crammed full.
Let's see if this that'll do.
So, husband's got to run somewhere.
Let's see this. One of the originals, honey.
It's an OG.
It's a classic model. Oh wow, this thing's huge. I forgot how big these things were.
Well, you're not getting out of the car, so it doesn't matter.
No, whatever. I don't care. I forgot how big I got these deliberately. This is one of the ones I got right before I went to.
Yeah. All right. He went to go pick up our dinner. We were gonna get one thing, and he was just gonna say screw it and have it delivered. And then he was looking at the delivery fee, and he's like, "That's an awful lot." And then he's like, "Well, I'm just gonna go get it." And then he's like, "Well, if I'm just gonna go get it, do you guys just want something from here instead?" So we changed what we were gonna have for dinner because it's too hot in this house to cook. I was originally gonna make pizza tonight, but my neck is messed up, so I wasn't sure that I could handle dealing with all of that today. Because, getting the mixer out and doing the dough and just dealing with all of it, my body was just like, no, that's okay. So, here, let me get rid of this bag of tissue paper, get it out of the way. Alright, so we've got that laid in. We do need to do some highlighting on the shore, so let's go ahead and get some of our light brown that we're using to highlight. Get that together. We don't have to do too much of this. I don't think I'm going to run it through the whole sections. Might just put a little bit in here, maybe in here. and maybe over in here. I'm not gonna do it over the whole thing, I don't think. I think that might look weird with what we've got going on. Got glue on my finger and I can feel it. It's catching on the tissue paper as I'm trying to twist it. I'm like, stop it. Stop that. So yeah, I've broken down and I'm mostly keeping the colors in Ziploc bags now. My other project that I'm working on is lobster trap or crab trap floats. Not real ones. I'm doing another project of tissue paper. It's a photograph I found on Unsplashed. But let me see. That's kind of what I'm working on right now. So I've got this one. I'm outlining them in black, and then, you know, trying to do. I didn't know if I was going to do the background in sand or tissue paper. It might be done in tissue paper. It'd be easier for me to do it in sand, but yeah, I don't know. It might look better in tissue paper. Alright. So as we are working our way through here, just get a few more prepped. I will say it is kind of hilarious how different each color of tissue paper can feel. A lot of the ones that we've used for this project so far have been kind of soft and kind of easy to deal with up to this point. There are, however, some colors that I'm using on the other project that have been crunchy when I've been trying to roll them. I just get out of there. It's just the way the I guess the texture of that particular page worked out to be. I don't know if maybe the dyes in the paper had anything to do with it. I mean, it's possible. It is getting so hot here. I don't know if it's because my head's right next to this light. Well, the heat index is 94. So it's still pretty toasty. We haven't put in our window air conditioning unit yet. We've been just trying to make do with the house AC, with the central air. The vents in our room that connect to the central air and heating don't work. We don't know what is going on. They haven't worked for some time. We don't know. And we don't have the money to investigate it. Oh, excuse me. So, we have like a fan set up in our central dining room that nobody uses. It's too small for an actual dining room table. It's a very awkward shape. Right now we're using it for storage, and basically a storage and a pass-through room to get to the other parts of the house is basically what it is. But it's always kind of chilly out there. So we have a fan set up out there and we're trying to blow the cold air into our room. And it's a little warm in here, but it's not usually melting into a puddle unless it's really hot outside. Like yesterday was exceptionally bad, but the heat index was in triple digits. So I mean and you could feel the difference in temperature from outside to inside. So I think it's just the fact that the house is so large. You know, it was doing what it could. And we're trying to keep the electric bill as down as we can. There's only so much we're going to be able to do with that, but it's the mother-in-law's house, so we help where we can. There is, I don't know if it's good news or not. It's definitely an update. The husband was checking on his status for his disability application because he wasn't sure if they were actually going to notify him when or if any changes happened or if he got denied or anything. He's like, watch, they probably won't tell me. I'll just have to go and look. And when he was checking, it says that it's under review. We don't know how long it's been under review, but it looks as though it is in the review process. So I guess that's something. So hopefully sucks too, because while working at the plastics place wasn't great, it was kind of shitty. They were super awesome when it came to working with him and his anxiety. And they tried to accommodate him as best as they could. But it was starting to reach a point where he just couldn't muscle through anymore. But like the final nail in the coffin there was when they're like, okay, you can't listen to music anymore all on headphones. It has to be on speaker because somebody had both headphones in when they were only supposed to have one on. And the HR person came up behind them and was talking to them, and they didn't hear her at all. And it's a safety thing with all of the plastics extruding machines. So they're like, nope. You still need to be able to hear us. We still need to be able to communicate with you. You can't just tone us all out. So because of that person kind of ruined it for everybody. He might have been able to make more of a fuss about it to try to get them to accommodate him for needing it because he wasn't on the main floor. At that point, he was working in what they called the tool room, working on other things. But they said they would rehire him if he was able to come back to work. we're not so sure that's gonna happen. He'll have like a good day, and then he'll have like 2 weeks of not good days. But at least, you know, there's some kind of sign of movement on his application, so yay, I guess. Trying to work quickly. So this glue doesn't dry out in this brush. Because that would be terrible. I mean, I know this brush is shitty, but I don't want to have to destroy another brush. I mean, I've got plenty of old ones I could probably choose from, but not really the point. A little bit there. I don't know, should we do one here? Just a touch. And I think we might do a little bit here. So I was originally planning on today being a lot longer. That obviously didn't end up happening. Next week, though. Next week, we can hopefully be a bit longer. But it does actually take time to get through this stuff. I mean, we didn't get a whole lot done today, but we did get a little bit done. Alright, I think we'll do this in here. And I think we'll do one last one over here. So here's what I hope to have happen next week. Next week I hope to get some of our shrubbery in, because we have a couple more planty things that we need to put in here and in here. I hope to get that done. And I hope to get started on our tree leaves, because we still need to work on that. And well, I'd hope for it to happen. I don't think it's going to. I think the water will have to wait another additional week after that, because I think next week will be full enough with getting our shrubs in, getting our fence put in, and getting our leaves put in on that. So I think we're gonna call it there today, especially since I'm not feeling that well. Yeah, I think we're gonna call it there today. We did get the highlights on the tree. That was good. We got our shoreline in. That was good. And we got our highlights in on our shoreline. So again, I'm sorry it was a little bit of a shorter one today, but bear with me. Hopefully next week I will be feeling better. If I feel up to it and I have time, we might do an extra art stream this week, in which case we could work on this as well. Then we will see. No promises on that. Really depends on many factors. But yeah, so thank you guys for popping in. I do appreciate it. It does help out a lot. It does mean a lot. So you guys have a great night. Hopefully your work weeks go okay. If you're about to start vacation, hopefully your vacation is awesome. And I will see you all next time. Have a good one.